this lecture, we want to look at vertex form of the quadratic equation. Think back to our equations of a line, our linear equations. We had standard form, but then we had slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form was useful because we could see the slope, we could see the y-intercept. The same thing is true with quadratic equations. We have our standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals y. And then we have our vertex form, y equals a times x minus h all squared plus k. In both of these, of course, a cannot equal 0. The question is, how do we get from one form to the other? Well, it should look a little bit familiar to you. This is where we need to use that completing the square method that you've been practicing. The nice thing about the vertex form of an equation is that it gives us a lot of important information. If a, that number in front, is greater than 0, we've already said that the parabola opens up and the vertex is the lowest point on the graph. If a is less than 0, so if we have a negative number in front, the parabola opens down and the vertex is the highest point. The vertex is the ordered pair HK. Let's look at that here. If we have a minus sign here and a plus sign here, then the vertex is HK. That makes this whole graph a lot easier to figure out. We can tell right away if it's going to open up or down. We can right away see the highest or lowest point. So let's look at some of these equations. I'm going to write that formula here again. Y equals a times x minus h all squared plus k. We want to find the vertex. Remember, it's important to have the minus sign here and the plus sign here. That's what we have. If that's what we have, then the vertex is HK. The vertex for this question is 4, 1. Is it going to open up or down? Well, that's when we're looking at A. Is A greater than 0 or less than 0? We see here that A is greater than 0. That tells us that the graph is going to open up. What's the y-intercept? Well, how do we find a y-intercept? We have to let x equal 0. Why don't you figure that out on some paper? I'll do it over here and then erase it. Y equals 2 times x equals 0 squared plus 1. Negative 4 squared is 16. Here we go. My y-intercept is y equals 33. Think about all of the information we have already. We know that this graph is going to open up. That means the vertex is the lowest point. We have a y-intercept at 33, and I want you to find one ordered pair on the graph. Let's not use the y-intercept. How are we going to find another ordered pair? Let x equal some number. Doesn't matter what number we choose because the domain is the set of all real numbers. So if I decide to let x equal 3, I would have y equals 2 times 3 minus 4 all squared plus 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. When x equals 3, we see that y equals 3. I hope you have some other paper for doing your work on. All right, question 2. What is the vertex? We needed a minus sign here and a plus sign here. We don't have a plus sign. We could rewrite this as y equals the negative of x minus 3 all squared plus negative 2. Now we have our minus sign and our plus sign. When we do that, we know that the vertex is HK. So the vertex here is 3, negative 2. Does this parabola open up or down? Well, I notice that A is less than 0. We have a negative 1 here. That tells me the parabola will open down. Can you find the y-intercept? Pause your video. We know we have to let x equal 0. Negative 3 squared is 9, so we have negative 9 minus 2, or negative 11. So our y-intercept is negative 11. And what about one other point on the graph? Well, I can let x equal any number I want. Why don't we try x equals 3? So I have y equals the negative of 3 minus 3, all squared minus 2. Three minus 3 is 0. The negative of 0 is 0. When x is 3, y is negative 2. Why don't you pause your video and see if you can find the vertex for question 3. It's a little bit tricky, I think. Again, we know that we need to have x minus h plus k. Both of these signs are not what the formula says they should be. We should rewrite this. X minus h. How do I get a minus sign there? I make this a negative 2. We already know how to make this one a minus sign, plus minus 3. Now I can see that h is negative 2 and k is negative 3. Is this going to open up or down? A is less than 0 again. It's going to open down. Pause your video and find the y-intercept. Did you get y equals negative 15? And we want to find one ordered pair. Why don't we let x equal 1 this time? We can let x equal any number, but just so we find the same ordered pair, let x equal 1, find an ordered pair on the graph. Did you find y equals negative 30? When x equals 1, y is negative 30. That means our ordered pair is negative 1, negative 30. All right, question 4. This time, I see that I don't have my minus sign here, but I do have the plus sign there. So we can rewrite this. Y equals x minus -8 all squared plus 7. So we see our HK. We know the vertex. We see that A is greater than 0 because this is a positive 1 at the front. This parabola opens up. Find the y-intercept. You should have found y equals 71. And how about for one other ordered pair, why don't we let x equal -7? We found when x is -7, y is -13. So our ordered pair, -7, -13. I think I'd like you to find the vertex, whether it opens up or down, the y-intercept, and an ordered pair for number 5. And let's say for this ordered pair, we're going to let x equal -4. So you should have found a vertex of -6, -4. A is less than 0, so the parabola opens down. Our y-intercept when x equals 0 is -328. And when x was equal to -4, a point on the graph was -440. I want to look at, though, an easy way of identifying the vertex. Notice that when we have a minus sign here, x is positive. We have a minus sign here, x is positive. Do we have a minus sign anywhere else? No. Okay. What happens when we have a plus sign here? Then x is negative. A plus sign here, x is negative. A plus sign here, x is negative. You always use the opposite of the sign on H. What about when we're looking at K? We have a +1, +1, -2, -2, -3, -3. K is just the number it looks like. You don't have to worry about changing the sign because the formula is just plus K. So do some practice with that, identifying the vertex and the y-intercept from a quadratic equation in vertex form. And then in the next lecture, we'll start doing some graphing.